Rain slams against the stone walls of the Avery estate outside New York, turning the driveway into a silver river. Thunder rolls so hard that the crystal chandelier in the study trembles. Ella Avery stands in front of her father's desk, fingers on a folder sealed with the red Avery crest. Her father, Marcus Avery, looks tired but steady. If Thorne Pharmaceuticals keeps pushing fake data, patients will die, he says. We are the last ones saying no. Then we expose them. Ella answers. We will. Marcus says. Evidence, hearings, courts. The law still means something. Lightning flashes. For a second the whole room goes white. Then the power dies. The computers go dark. Only the storm outside gives the room a pale, shifting glow. The backup should kick in. Marcus mutters. It does not. Gunfire cracks through the hallway. Ella flinches. A scream, sharp and short, cuts through the house. It is her mother. Dad. Marcus grabs her wrist. Basement. Now. He pulls a hidden panel open behind the bookshelf. The narrow stairway smells like stone and dust. Ella has played on those steps since she was small. Tonight they feel like a throat closing around her. Marcus Avery. A man's voice booms down the hallway, smooth and amused. Do not make us chase you. Come out. It is raining. I do not like to get wet. Victor Thorne. Even in the dark, Ella sees her father's jaw clench. Go, he says, pushing her toward the stairs. The basement door flies open. Bernard, their gray-haired butler, stands there with a flashlight and a heavy metal case clutched to his chest. Miss Ella, he whispers. No time. Take this. He shoves the case into her hands. Inside, foam holds jars, tiny bottles, and sharp silver tools in neat rows. A small leather notebook sits in the middle. The Avery Mask Kit. Bernard says. Pigments, adhesives, herbs, the formula book. Your grandmother's work. With this you can change your face, your voice, even your scent. You must live. You must make them pay. Gunfire booms above them, closer. Marcus grabs Bernard's shoulder. Get her out through the tunnel. Dad, no. Ella protests. We run together. We go to the police. We do not split up. Marcus holds her face in both hands. Victor will not stop until we are ash. He says, voice rough. If he sees you, he will finish the job. I am not giving him my daughter too. Go, Ella. Live long enough to hurt him back. Another scream rips through the ceiling, then a crash. Her mother. Bernard drags Ella down the last steps. The small stone room below smells of damp earth and old medicine. A narrow tunnel gapes in the far wall, a black hole leading under the hill. Above them, the study door explodes open. Boots slam on hardwood. Victor's voice floats down, lazy and cold. Dr. Avery. How unfortunate. Your house is on fire. The flames find the vents. Smoke seeps into the basement. Heat presses against the walls. Bernard shoves Ella toward the tunnel. Go, he says. I will lock the door. If they find me, they will think I was alone. You must survive. Tears blur her vision. Bernard, come with me. I cannot run like you. He answers. Someone has to slam the door. He hits the emergency lever. Small bulbs flick on down the tunnel, a dotted line of dim light. Gunfire thunders again. Something heavy falls above them. Bernard shoves Ella through the tunnel door and slams it. The lock clanks shut. Bernard. Ella screams, pounding the wood. Bernard. The only answer is the roar of fire and the distant sound of Victor's laugh. Your daughter ran, he says above, his voice muffled by the floor. If she lived, she will not live long without your money. Smoke curls under the door. The wood grows hot under Ella's palms. Something inside her cracks. She looks down at the metal case. Her reflection stares back at her in the lid. Wet hair. Wide hazel eyes. The face of the Avery heiress, printed in business magazines and hospital newsletters. The face Victor wants to erase. She flips the latches open. The jars clink softly. The leather notebook feels warm from Bernard's hands. On the first page, in her grandmother's careful writing, a single sentence waits. To survive, you must become the person they never see coming. Ella wipes her tears with the back of her hand. She lifts the smallest brush, dips it into dark pigment, and starts to redraw her own cheek in the metal reflection. Above her, the Avery estate burns. In the tunnel, a new girl is born. 3 days later, the rain is gone and midtown Manhattan shines under a cold blue sky. A line of job seekers snakes along the glass tower that belongs to Thorne Pharmaceuticals. Near the back stands a girl in a faded hoodie and cheap jeans. Her shoulders hunch. Her hands twist the strap of a canvas bag. Her skin is several shades darker than Ella's used to be. Her nose is broader. Her jaw is softer. Her hair is dull and matted under a cap. When the security guard calls, "Next," she shuffles forward without meeting his eyes. "Name?" he asks. "Lena." She whispers. "Lena Moore." He glances at her form. "Cleaning staff, night shift." "You sure? Pay is bad, hours worse." Lena nods. He stamps the paper. "Elevator, floor 2. Human resources will bore you to death. If you do not quit, you get a uniform." As she walks toward the revolving door, the glass throws back a thin reflection. For a heartbeat, Lena straightens. Her eyes sharpen, bright as broken glass. Ella Avery looks out at the Thorn Tower, at the empire built on her family's ashes. Under her hoodie, her fingers close around a small metal pin. The Avery crest presses into her palm, stained with smoke that never washed off. "Victor Thorn." She murmurs so softly no one hears. "You stole my home, my name, my future. I am coming to take everything back." Then she hunches her shoulders again, and walks into the building like a girl who has never had power in her life. The game begins. Lena Moore's first weeks at Thorn are a lesson in invisibility. Human Resources slides her a packet of forms without really looking at her. "Sign here, here, here. Night shift, top floors. You mop, wipe, empty trash. You do not see anything you should not see. You do not talk about anything you should not talk about. Understand?" "Yes," Lena says, making her handwriting small and cramped. Her photo prints on a cheap plastic badge. Downcast eyes, a stiff mouth, forgettable. Her supervisor, a thick-set woman named Marcia, marches her through marble hallways. "Top floor, executive offices." Marcia says, "You work late and quiet. Do not stare at them. Do not talk to them. If they talk, you say yes sir, no sir, sorry sir, then vanish. The Thorn brothers get top priority. Mess up there and you are gone. Got it?" "Yes," Lena whispers. They stop at a frosted glass door marked Victor Thorn, Chief Executive Officer. Marcia lowers her voice. "That one is the big boss. He sees everything, or thinks he does. You really do not want to be on his bad side." Down the hall, keycard locks guard a set of double doors. "The research floor," Marcia says. "Authorized access only. Do not even breathe near that door unless you are told to. The younger brother, Ethan Thorn, lives in there. Nicer than Victor. Still your boss. Do not forget that." Lena does not forget. The night she first steps into Victor's office with a mop and cart, every muscle in her wants to lock. The room is colder than the hallway. Black glass walls look out over the city. The desk is a sharp block of stone. A twisted metal sculpture hangs on the wall like a nest of needles. Ella can almost see her father standing here, arguing with Victor about trial protocols and safety limits. She sucks in a slow breath and lets Lena move instead. She wipes fingerprints from the desk. She dusts the edge of the sculpture. She notes camera angles, blind spots the lenses miss by a few inches. Bernard taught her how to read those. The first week is for mapping. She learns security patrol routes, elevator codes, how long guards linger by the vending machines. She notes the way executives toss paper into recycling bins without thinking. She memorizes how Victor slams his door when he is angry and leaves it cracked when he wants someone to be afraid to knock. She also learns how to mess up on purpose. One night she drops a stack of folders just as Victor opens his office door. Paper flutters everywhere. He stops, irritation flashing over his sharp features. He is as tall as the magazines said, his hair slicked back, his eyes flat and pale. Lena drops to her knees and scrambles. "I am so sorry, I did not see you, I am so clumsy, I will pick them up, I am sorry." "Do not talk so much." He snaps. "Just move." "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir." She bumps his shoe with her elbow. He swears and steps back like she might stain him. By the time she leaves, her cheeks are hot. Some of the humiliation is real. The rest is paint on a mask. In the empty stairwell, she straightens. Useless, she thinks. He will file me as useless. Useless people are safe to ignore. On a stormy night when most executives go home early, the building is quiet. By midnight, only Victor's office and the research floor still glow. Lena finishes wiping down a conference table, then takes the stairs instead of the elevator. One camera on the research level glitches, just enough to miss her badge swipe. The lab door opens with a soft beep. Cold air smells of alcohol, steel, and the faint chemical notes she grew up around. Signs on the wall scream authorized staff only, all activity monitored. Ella Avery walked labs like this before she could drive. She knows where the cameras are and how to move between them. Her goal is the server cabinet labeled trial data, phase 3. Thorns. Miracle. Clotting drug, resolve, looks perfect on paper. Ella suspects the formula Victor pushes through trials is cut with cheap filler that turns fragile patients into statistics. She slides a small USB drive from the hidden pocket in her sleeve. Bernard's niece wrote the code for her. The girl died in the explosion that wiped out Avery Medical. The drive survived. The cabinet unlocks. Ella plugs the drive in and watches the progress bar crawl. 30 seconds. She counts in her head. At 25, the light flashes green. She pulls the drive, tucks it back into her sleeve, and closes the cabinet. Footsteps click down the hall outside. Mail. Light. Not in a hurry. The lab door opens before she reaches the back exit. A man steps in, shrugging out of a white coat. Brown hair falls into his eyes. He stops when he sees her. Ella knows him from business articles. Ethan Thorne, Victor's younger brother. Fewer interviews, more lab time. The one who talked about safety and ethics until the board started calling him soft. Now he stares at a janitor who should not be near his data. He takes in the cleaning cart, the mop, the cheap uniform. Then he looks at her hand. She is still holding a small bottle of neutralizing solution. An ordinary cleaner would not know to grab that, but it is exactly what a trained lab tech would use. "You are not supposed to be in here," he says, not angry, curious. "I am sorry." Lena blurts. She hunches her shoulders. "My supervisor said mop this floor too. I thought it was all the same. I did not touch anything important. I will leave." She tries to shuffle past him. He steps sideways, blocking her. "Let me see your hands," he says. She hesitates. "You just said you did not touch anything," he points out. "So there is no problem, right?" Slowly, she turns her palms up. Calluses run across her fingers, not random like someone who lifts boxes, but neat and narrow where scalpels, pipettes, and forceps sit. "You work in a hotel before this?" he asks. "Yes," she says too fast. "Funny," he says. "Hotels do not leave those marks, and they do not smell like this." He leans in slightly, like a man checking a theory. Under the industrial soap and cheap detergent is a faint trace of herbs. The Avery family scent. Calm the mind, sharpen the senses. Ella's pulse stutters. She jerks back. "Please, I am just trying to keep this job." He watches her for a long moment. Then he steps aside. "Go," he says. "Tonight I did not see you. Tomorrow you stay out of this floor unless you are told otherwise." Relief slams through her. As she hurries out, his voice follows. "Tell your supervisor," he adds, "that Ethan Thorne does not want the night janitor near his lab. She might break something." There is dry humor in the words, and a warning under it. He knows enough to be suspicious. He lets her walk away anyway. Back in her motel room, the USB drive sits on the bedspread next to the Avery crest pin. Sirens wail outside. She stares at the ceiling. "Why did you let me go?" she whispers to the dark. "What are you really doing in that tower, Ethan Thorne?" She does not know he is lying awake too, wondering who Lena Moore really is, and why he smells Avery herbs on her skin. The mouse in the glass tower is not a mouse. And the younger Thorne is not blind. The next week, Marcia corners Lena in the locker room. "What did you do?" she demands. The younger Thorne came down himself, and said you are never allowed on his floor again. "Do you know how many cleaners get banned by name?" "None. Before you." "I am sorry," Lena says, eyes wide. "I just did what you told me." Marcia huffs. "At least he did not fire you. You are on executive offices only now. Maybe that is safer." Safer for you, Ella thinks. Better for me. She spends her nights between Victor's office and the boardrooms, mapping schedules and snagging photos of reports with her cheap phone in empty hallways. One night, while she empties the shredder bin outside Victor's office, she hears voices inside. "I am telling you, the numbers do not add up," Ethan says, clipped. "If we dilute the active compound further, the side effects spike. We are not talking headaches, Victor. We are talking organ failure. You worry too much about numbers and not enough about money." Victor replies. "Insurance companies love cheaper drugs. Regulators love big promises. You want to save people? Get them something affordable. By killing others?" Ethan snaps. "The data you showed the board last quarter ignored all adverse events from Site 3. You know that. You think I do not know my own company?" Victor's tone goes cold. "I use data that supports our future. Everything else is noise. People die in trials. That is how medicine moves forward. That is not what Marcus Avery believed." Ethan says before he can stop himself. Silence. "Careful," Victor says at last. You are talking like a man who misses him. Maybe I miss people who do not treat human beings as acceptable losses. Ethan replies. Ella's hands tighten around the shredder bin. He is not just less cruel. He is pushing against Victor from inside and losing. Later that night, she scrubs a coffee stain in the break room as an excuse to linger. Ethan walks in, closes the door, and leans against the counter. We need to talk, he says. I am working. She answers without looking up. And I am about to make your night worse, he says. I checked your employee file. Ice slides down her spine. Born in upstate New York, he says. Moved to the city 3 months ago. No college. References that vanish when human resources calls. The file is a stitched blanket, cheap and fast. Maybe my old bosses hate me, she says. Maybe, he says. Or maybe someone did a rush job because she was running from a fire. He holds her gaze now, not letting her drop her eyes. I grew up near the Avery plant, he says. I know the smell of their antiseptic blend. I also know Marcus Avery did not burn his own lab for insurance. He was about to prove Thorne's data was fake. 2 days later, his house exploded. Ella's mouth goes dry. You could have turned me in, she says. Why did you not? Because my brother ordered that fire. Ethan says quietly. I did not stop it. That is on me. I will not help him finish the job. He reaches into his pocket and sets a folded sheet of paper on the table between them. What is that? She asks. Financial transfers, he says. Shell companies, dummy accounts. Money Victor took to push Resolve through. Money he wired to a private security firm right before your house burned. Her fingers tremble as she unfolds it. Lines of numbers blur, then sharpen. The dates match the worst night of her life. Where did you get this? She breathes. I still have passwords he thinks I do not remember. Ethan says. Being the useless younger brother has perks. Why show me? Ella asks. Because I want him to pay. Ethan says. And I cannot bring him down alone. The board thinks I'm soft. Regulators think Thorne is too big to hit. You are a ghost. You have nothing left he can take. If I say no, she asks. Then you keep stealing what you can, he says. Eventually he catches you. You die in a stairwell. The drug stays on the market. I stay in a lab trying to patch the harm. We both lose. How do I know this is not a trap? She demands. You do not, he says. You only know that I am not the man who burned your home down. He straightens. Think about it. If you want to work together, come to my lab after your shift tomorrow. If you do not, I will pretend this never happened. He leaves. Ella stares at the paper. Trust a Thorne? The idea makes her stomach twist. She tucks the sheet into her uniform, next to the Avery crest. The next night, when the building is quiet and the cameras are pointed elsewhere, she walks into Ethan Thorne's lab and closes the door. My name is Ella Avery, she says. Let us end him. Working with Ethan is like walking a wire over a fire. By day, the world sees a nervous janitor and a tired researcher who barely nod in the hallway. By night, they are co-conspirators. In corners of the lab and empty stairwells, they trade files and plans. Ethan knows the politics of the Thorne board, which members fear scandal, which only fear losing money. Ella knows how regulators think, how patient stories can turn a quiet file into a headline. They split the work. Ethan pulls internal files, trial data, edited reports, emails where Victor orders numbers. Reframed. He grabs security footage from the plant, call logs with shady brokers, payments to shell companies. Ella moves through the city. On her days off, she rides buses to the neighborhoods where Resolve trial sites sit on cheap land near tired hospitals. She knocks on doors. She sits at kitchen tables and listens. My husband walked into the trial. A woman tells her, clutching a photo. He came out in a box. They told me it was the disease. But his organs failed after the shots. My son was supposed to get better. A father says. He got nosebleeds, headaches, then seizures. They said keep going, it was normal. Then he died. Thorne never called again. Ella never lies. My name is Ella, she says. My family tried to stop this drug. We failed. I am trying again. I cannot bring anyone back. But I can make sure the man who signed those papers answers for it. Some doors slam in her face. Some stay open. She brings paper copies of hospital records, trial consent forms, and complaint emails back to Ethan. He cross-checks every name and date against internal files. Every match is another nail. We have enough for a scandal, he says one night, surrounded by open folders. Maybe enough for charges if the prosecutor is not in Victor's pocket. We will make it enough, Ella says. We stack the odds. Evidence, patience, public anger. We build something too loud to ignore. They talk about timing. Victor has been planning the 10-year Thorn Gala forever. Ethan says. Big ballroom, investors, press, regulators, all in one place. He wants to announce Resolve as the future of treatment. Ella smiles, slow and sharp. Then that is where his future ends. They work until dawn, shaping a plan. Ethan wires a video system that looks normal on the outside and is anything but inside. He builds redundant triggers so that once the file starts, no one can stop it by pulling one plug. Ella writes a script and records it in a motel bathroom, voice low and steady. No drama, just facts with names attached. They fight, sometimes. When exhaustion hits, their tempers run thin. He snaps that she cannot just accuse without hard proof. She snaps that he has spent years trying to fix corrosion with a toothbrush. They always circle back. More dangerous than the plan is the way their walls start to slip. He learns she sleeps in a cheap motel and uses 3-burner phones. She learns he used to visit Marcus Avery's conferences in secret because he wanted to work for a company like that. He brings her coffee without asking how she takes it. She patches a cut on his hand without thinking before she realizes she is touching a thorn. Bad idea, he says quietly as she tapes the bandage. The cut or this? She asks. This, he says, eyes on hers. Feelings are leverage. Victor would use anything he can rip out of us. Then we do not have this, she says. We do not have this, he echoes. They both know it is a lie. The closer they get to the gala, the more dangerous Victor becomes. He walks with security now. He changes passwords twice a week. He snaps at board members. He watches everyone. He does not watch Lena. He sneers at her. One afternoon, she rounds a corner and crashes into a woman in a sharp dress. Coffee explodes over Lena's gray uniform. Watch where you are going. The woman snaps. God, do they hire you people off the street? I am sorry. Lena says, hot coffee dripping down her neck. I will clean it. You could not afford the buttons on this blazer. The woman says. Next time it is a complaint to human resources. Lena feels something hot and ugly move under her skin. You burned my home down, she thinks, and I am the one apologizing for a spill. Her shoulders rise half an inch. Her gaze lifts. Sorry, she says again, but the word is stiff. The woman rolls her eyes and stalks off. Interesting, Victor says from his office doorway. Lena startles. Coffee soaks her collar. I thought you were spineless, he says, strolling closer. But just now I saw something. A spark. He looks her up and down like she is a lab rat. Where are you from, Lena Moore? Upstate, she answers. Human resources printed that lie for her. Where exactly? He presses. Around Syracuse. You do not sound like it, he says. You sound city. And you react like someone who has been insulted too many times to count. She drops her eyes. I am sorry, sir. It will not happen again. Eminem. He taps his lower lip, thinking. Insult can be useful. It keeps a person hungry. Remember that. He almost pats her shoulder, then thinks better of it. Clean yourself up, he says. And try not to cry on my floors. It makes the building look cheap. When he disappears back into his office, she staggers into the staff bathroom, hands shaking. In the mirror, coffee stains her uniform. Her eyes are too bright. The mask of Lena has a crack. You held yourself too straight, a voice says behind her. She spins. Ethan leans against the wall, tie loosened, eyes tired. Are you following me? She demands. I was on my way to the lab, he says. Then I saw my brother stare at you like he had just noticed you exist. That is never good. I slipped, she says. He saw something. He is paranoid, not a mind reader. Ethan says. He will circle, but he will not admit in public that a janitor scares him. His ego will not let him. He sits on the floor next to the sink like the tile is not beneath him. You still want to do this? He asks. We can walk away. Drop the video. Move the families to lawyers quietly. It will be safer for you. You walk away if you want, she says, sinking down beside him. I am seeing this through. He studies her profile. I hate him, he says. I know, she answers. I hate that I care what happens to you now. She adds before she can stop herself. Silence hums between them. I know that too, he says. They sit shoulder to shoulder until the fluorescent light starts to feel like dawn. Then he stands and offers her his hand. Come on, he says. We have work to finish. The night of the Thorne 10-year gala, the ballroom is a glittering lie. Chandeliers pour warm light over polished floors. Banners praise innovation. Big screens loop videos of smiling patients and doctors in white coats. A string quartet plays as investors, regulators, and reporters float from one conversation to another. Backstage, Ella adjusts the black catering uniform she borrowed. Her hair is pulled back. The heavy pigments that darkened her skin for months are gone. She looks like herself for the first time since the fire. She still wears Lena's quiet. In the control booth, a laptop waits with Ethan's rewired system. The file is set to play the moment Victor starts his speech. Once he begins, no one can stop it. Ethan told her earlier in a stairwell. If they pull one plug, the backup kicks in. If they pull two, the battery kicks in. Someone would have to smash the screens with a chair. Victor likes his image too much to let that happen, Ella said. Now she watches from the side door as Victor takes the stage in a perfect suit, smiling like a man who owns the room. 10 years ago, Thorne Pharmaceuticals was an idea. He says into the microphone. Tonight we celebrate a decade of saving lives and the future of treatment with resolve. Applause swells. On the far wall, the timer on the laptop hits 0. The screens behind Victor flicker. The Thorne logo blazes, then vanishes. A grainy security feed replaces it. The Avery estate burns across 10 meters of glass. Flames chew through windows. Men in dark gear move through smoke. A figure who looks very much like Victor stands in the yard, phone at his ear, expression calm. The audio clicks on. Victor's recorded voice fills the ballroom. Make sure there are no survivors, he says. I want every file, every sample, anything that cannot be moved, burn it. No loose ends. Gasps crash through the room. On stage, the real Victor whirls around. Turn that off, he snaps. Now. No one moves. In the control booth, the technician stabs keys in panic. Nothing happens. The video rolls on. Financial transfer records fill the screens next. Shell companies. Wire transfers. Payments to private security firms. Red circles highlight dates that match the fire, the trial launches, the spikes in patient deaths. A calm voice overlays the images. This is how Thorne Pharmaceuticals built its miracle drug. Ella's recorded voice says. On stolen research, falsified data, and blood. Faces appear. The woman with her husband's photo. The father with his son's toy. Their words about the trial and resolved side effects are simple, devastating. The room shifts. Some guests clutch their champagne flutes harder. Some start filming. Some look around for exits. Victor storms toward the control booth. Pull the plug, he shouts. Do not bother, Ethan says from near the soundboard, voice steady. The backup will keep playing. I wired it myself. The ballroom goes quiet again. Victor stares at his brother. You, he says, full of disbelief and rage. You did this. I helped, Ethan says. The video ends with a black screen and white text. Resolve is not safe. Thorne Pharmaceuticals knows it. Ask them why they kept going. The lights come up a little. Dead center in the room, Ella walks out from the side door. She is not in a uniform. She wears a simple black dress. Her hair is pulled back. Her face is bare. Some older doctors gasp. They remember Marcus Avery's daughter. Victor hears the whispers. He sees her and goes very still. Good evening, Mr. Thorne, Ella says, voice carrying without a microphone. Surprised to see me? Security, Victor shouts. Get her out. The guards hesitate. Cameras blink from the walls. Reporters raise their phones. Ella steps onto the edge of the stage. 10 years ago you told my father he was on the wrong side of history, she says. You stole his research, ordered a fire, and called the bodies loose ends. You tried to erase us. She pulls a small, charred piece of metal from her pocket and holds it up. The Avery crest catches the light. This was in the rubble of my home, she says. The same crest your own files list as acquired assets after the fire. Victor laughs. It sounds thin. This is a breakdown, he tells the room. She is unstable. Her family burned their own lab for money. Avery was failing. Thorne saved the work. These lies are old. Avery Medical was solvent. Ethan says, stepping closer. We have the books. Regulators were about to clear Marcus. You knew. You could not risk what he knew about your fake data. So you made sure there was no one left to speak. You are my brother. Victor snarls. How dare you do this to our family? I am doing it for our family, Ethan says. I would like to remember the Thorne name for something other than bodies. Police lights flash outside the windows. Sirens grow louder. Ella looks straight into a camera. This is not a court, she says. That will come. This is a warning. To investors who took his calls, to regulators who looked away, to politicians who cashed his checks. You cannot pretend you did not know anymore. The records are public now. Victor lunges. Guards tackle him before he reaches the stage. He fights, kicks, screams promises of revenge. This is not over. He howls as they cuff him. I will bury you both. I will dash. A guard shoves his face down. The rest of his threat smears against the marble. As they drag him past Ethan, Victor spits. This is your family too. You just signed your own death warrant, little brother. Ethan meets his eyes. No, he says softly. I just cut the chain. The ballroom explodes into noise. Some guests shove toward the exit. Others shove microphones toward Ella and Ethan. Did you fake this video? A reporter yells. Are you accusing Thorne of murder on record? Yes, Ella says, voice steady. On record. Hours later, when the last guest leaves and the last police car drives away with Victor in the back, Ella steps out into the cold New York night. The Thorne logo on the tower has gone dark. For the first time since the fire, her chest feels wide enough for air. It worked, she says. Phase 1 worked. Ethan answers beside her. Now come investigation, trials, hearings. Victor will throw every lawyer he has at this. He will still be behind glass when I testify, she says. That is enough. She turns to him. You did not have to stand with me, she says. Yes, he replies. I did. You know this does not erase what your family did, she says. I am still angry, at Victor, at the board, at you, for not stopping him sooner. I know, he says. He takes that hit without flinching. I will spend the rest of my life trying to balance that ledger. That is a big promise, she says. I am a scientist, he answers. We like big, impossible goals. She almost smiles. Come with me, she says. I am rebuilding Avery Medical. New name, new board, real trials, real transparency. We will make what he did a cautionary tale, not the blueprint. Your board will want you to stay away from the Thorne name, he says. Then I will hire Ethan Hayes or Ethan Gray, she says. Paper can lie, you do not. He hesitates only a heartbeat. Okay, he says. I am in. She offers her hand. He takes it. His palm is warm, steady. The future is not clean. There will be court dates, hate mail, and nights when grief hits harder than any headline. But for the first time since the rain turned red on the stones of the Avery estate, Ella is not walking alone. She is walking beside a man who chose to tear his own life apart, rather than keep quiet. They turn away from the dark Thorne Tower, and toward the blocks where a new lab will rise. Behind them, in an evidence room, a box of files waits under a fresh case number. In front of them, a door is waiting. Ella takes a breath that does not taste like smoke. Revenge brought her this far. Hope will take her the rest of the way.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.